Welcome to the Katie Wellness Show, where you get the tools, knowledge, and inspiration you need to transform your health and wellness, body, mind, and spirit. You'll learn holistic and practical wellness strategies that empower you to reclaim your health and fully step into your power. You belong here as you learn to tap into your intuition to support your body every step of the way. Let go of what's no longer serving you and teach these tools and strategies to your family to raise emotionally and physically resilient children. Welcome back to the Katie Wellness Show. I am your host, Lindsey Katie. In my mind, February is Heart Month. Not only do we celebrate Valentine's Day, which is a day of love and a day of showing others we love them, there's also National Heart Attack Awareness Day, I think, in February. So looking at more than just how do you celebrate Valentine's Day as a romantic or an intimate love type holiday. My family celebrates We Love Being a Family Day on February 14th. We have a special meal. It's sometimes eaten by candlelight just to make it feel special. Something that my husband and I did when we were first married is our special meal was steak on the barbecue, which is very interesting experience in February because in Utah, it was usually burnt, not very good quality, but I'm really looking forward to that special meal here in California now that we are not dealing with snow and freezing cold temperatures. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to about February. And I just wanted to point out that February is not necessarily about romantic or intimate love, but it also can be about self-love, about family love, and about your heart, protecting your heart. This has been on my mind a bit lately of how can we protect our hearts, especially if we have people in our lives who bully, who demean, who choose not to take responsibility for themselves, who are manipulative. Last year, about this time, I had an interview with a good friend who is a life coach and a narcissistic divorce advocate. She helps people who are going through divorces with a narcissistic partner. And I know that this is not my typical realm of things, but at the beginning of the interview I had with Shelly, you will see kind of my background and why I felt so passionate about this at the time. But also, I'm just sharing it on my podcast. I only shared it on my Instagram account last year, but I'm sharing it on my podcast here because the same message still applies, that we can have people in our lives who are not regulated in their emotions, who have a need for power and control over other people. They need to preserve their own self-image, or they can't handle criticism. They tend to gaslight you or make you feel like you're crazy by discounting your experience or discounting your feelings and your thoughts and your emotions. When we have someone like this in our lives, whether it's a parent, a co-partner, a co-parenting partner, or someone who we are related to in any way, married to, how can we protect our energy? How can we protect our hearts from this type of abuse? And we're gonna jump into this episode with Shelly, and she's going to talk a little bit more about narcissistic behaviors. How can we protect ourselves? So enjoy the episode. I'm really excited for you to hear. So this will be part one of the interview I did with Shelly. Next part two will be coming next week. So look forward to that, and we'll chat after this portion of the interview. Yes. So in the schooling that I just completed for emotional health this last year, I worked with someone who was going through a divorce with a narcissistic partner. And just seeing the work that you're doing and seeing how all of it was affecting her, I just thought I want to let people know that there's help out there in lots of different areas, right? Like someone who can be on your side, like you, who knows how to, you studied how they work, and you understand, I don't know, the thought patterns and the thought processes, and how you can strategically still get what you need out of the divorce, and also protect, yourself and your kids. So I love the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I have this weird, I've always had this weird fascination with psychology and how our brain works and the power that our brain has, like just crazy amazing. So as all of this came to my awareness, I guess, because I'd never even heard of the term narcissism or narcissist. I didn't even know what it was. At first, I'm like, is that where people fall asleep? Like I was thinking it was narcolepsy.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what that is? No, no. So it's been this huge education process for me. And it's on one hand, I'm fascinated by personality disorders in particular and the way our brains are and the way, I don't know, how it all works. And then it's very disturbing because the nightmare and havoc that they wreak on people's lives is just it's almost like you can't make this stuff up. It's like, how is this even real? Which is part of their MO, but yeah, it's been quite a journey for me, but
Yeah.
and so I just want to help others.
Yes, thank
Spread
you.
the word, spread the
Yes.
word. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
so let's back up. Will you introduce yourself and what you do
oh,
and how you help people?
yeah. So I'm Shelly Sabey. I started Shelly J Coaching a little over a year ago after some certifications that I've been through. And what I do is I am a certified life coach, but I'm also a certified high conflict divorce coach, which means I've studied a lot about personality disorders, mostly narcissism, and how they make up the high conflict divorce. And it only takes one to create a high conflict divorce. And it's not like any other divorce you go through. Um, you have regular divorces, and from my point of view, they seem like a walk in the park, skipping through daisies compared to what I deal with clients going through a divorce with a narcissist. So because I didn't understand what this was, and as I've gained my education in it, I'm like, I've got to tell people. I was so unaware that I'm like, it blindsides you, and I don't want anybody to go through that. I don't want anybody to do this alone. It is an isolating, lonely road because of the tactics that they use. It's so troubling, and so I just want to be a cheerleader for people, and I want to be a strategy partner. And that's what I do is I can help set up. I can help them with emotions and mindfulness and managing that and processing, but I can also help them in the legal end with how their documentation is, their communication, um, their the way that they just present themselves in court. All of it can be a help to their case or a hindrance. And if you don't know how to strategize and you don't know who you're dealing with, a lot of people have lost their kids. Safe parents have lost their kids to a narcissist because they are blindsided when they go into court. So
Mm,
I hate to see that happen.
yeah. Yeah.
So
So that's it. I can hear your passion behind the topic. You're really there to help people and to set them up for success, because this not only affects, the person going through the divorce, but also their families, their kids, their future generations, even. So tell me, at first you were not even aware what a narcissist was. Okay, what's your understanding of it now?
oh, I could spend our whole time just on that question, but I'll try and sum it up.
Okay.
Okay, so well, narcissism is so a narcissistic person has it's really, you view it as character traits and behaviors. So it's a person, like a lot of people, narcissism is thrown around, the term is thrown around all over the place, right? And a lot of people think, well, that's just an arrogant person, right? They're just selfish, right? No. Like it is like on another level of extreme where they have this sense of their own self-importance that is just unreasonable. They seek after attention, and want people to admire them, and they actually need it. It's like inside they feel that they have to have that. Um, Obviously, they lack the ability to understand other people's feelings, so they have this huge lack of empathy. And one of the traits that is really difficult is they they feel no shame or guilt when they exploit people, so they'll exploit others for their own personal gain in whatever manner. They're happy to throw you under the bus and they won't feel any shame or guilt over it. And and they come across as very confident. And I even hate to use the word confident because confidence to me is a healthy term. And so but a lot of people talk about in the psychology word that's extreme confidence, but it's extreme arrogance. Um, and people see them like that. But at the root base, they're actually very insecure and they really have no sense of self-worth. And so everybody talks about they put on a mask to mask that insecurity, and they use all of these characteristics and behavior to mask that. Narcissism does run along a spectrum. You have a wide range of narcissism from benign to like down the middle, covert to the malignant is what we call it, which you get into the psychopathy or sociopathy end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they are the ones that they do everything that the benign narcissists and the covert narcissists do, but they're the ones that will commit all sorts of crimes and murder. They'll commit murder. Um, they think they're above the law. So a lot of narcissism, they'll gaslight people. I know you probably heard that term. People talk about that. They're bullies, they demean you, they blame others, they won't take any responsibility for um, anything that they've done wrong. They're manipulative. They have an extreme sense of entitlement and that they're better and that they deserve special treatment. And all of this, they have unreasonable expectations, they have unregulated emotions, they're superficial, but all of this falls under this umbrella of this need for power and control over people,
Mm-hmm.
and preserving what they believe is their beauty or self-image. And they cannot handle criticism at all. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, that's kind of narcissism. Um,
That's way more complex than I was thinking. I just thought a narcissism is a very negative manipulator, right?
yeah.
And that can be part of it, definitely from what you're talking about, but it's way more. It's not taking that responsibility. That's feeling like they're above the law. That's using people, like only being in relationships if you can make me look better. And if you can't make me
Oh,
look
yeah.
better, then you're of no use to me.
Right. And they'll use and abuse and then they'll move on and
Yeah.
leave. They just leave destruction in their wake and expect everybody else to clean it up. Kind of, you know?
Yeah.
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 And
So,
and so I only use the term narcissism because that's what everybody understands. But in my work, I look at behaviors. So I don't care if someone's a narcissist or not. I'm looking at behaviors and patterns of behavior. And that's the whole thing here, is because a narcissist isn't just one thing. Like just because someone feels entitled doesn't mean they're a narcissist. They've got to have pretty much a lot of these traits to actually be a narcissist.
right.
So
And in a lot of relationships where there is a narcissist, whether it is a partner, whether it's a parent, whether it's a co-parent or a co-partner, right? Um, that is going to take a lot of energy out of the non the non-narcissistic, the non
The healthy
So
person.
yes, the healthy person. There we go. So how do you support the healthy person in this relationship? Like, what are some of your top, I guess, how do you protect your energy, how to protect your heart? Because they could suck you dry if
Oh,
you,
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You can be a massive mind puddle mess. You literally think you're going crazy. The gaslighting is one of the worst things that they do to people. I don't know if you or your viewers know what gaslighting is, but that is they will manipulate you, and they'll just tell you things that you know are true, but they'll tell you they're not. So you can say, for this is very basic, I'm hungry, and they'll sit there and say, no, you're not. You're not hungry. Knock it off, right? They'll just discount, and they'll tell you, and for us it's like, well, that's kind of lame. We know that's not going to affect us. But when this is happening and it's on a level where you know how an argument went down with them, and then they're telling you you're not seeing it right, and that happens over and over and over, you think you're going crazy. You literally cannot even, you feel like you can't trust your own thinking, perception, and reality. And it just wreaks havoc on your psyche. I think it's pretty devastating. And a lot of people have PTSD just from that that they have to deal. Sorry, that was a little sidebar, but
No, that's okay. Thank you.
so and I say that because in order to protect yourself, number one, and I don't know, a lot of people might not like this or believe this, but you've got to get a good trauma therapist and a life coach or a divorce coach who understands narcissism. Um, Therapy can be good or bad, depending on who you get. So you've got to do your homework, and you've got to get a good one, because you've got to unpack a lot of trauma. Because a lot of victims will have a trauma bond with their narcissist, and it's really hard to sever that. So they do need help with that. But for me, protecting your energy is all about education. You got to know who you're dealing with, and you've got to understand and manage your expectations about these people. You just have to know they're never going to change, because they never think anything's wrong with them. They think you need to change. So you've got to understand who you're dealing with. Stop giving them chance after chance, thinking they're going to magically change. They're not. So that's a big one. So a lot of this is self-care. And when you learn these, setting healthy boundaries is huge. Learning and applying grounding techniques. In my world, we have what's called radical acceptance, that when you're dealing with them in court, you've got to come to grips with that.
I really loved my opportunity to chat with Shelly about protecting ourselves. How do we protect ourselves? How do we protect our heart? How do we protect our energy from someone who is gaslighting, bullying, being manipulative, feeling entitled, an extreme sense of entitlement, right? That was something that Shelly pointed out. And she talked a lot about ways to protect yourself is to get a good therapist and work through that trauma bond. It can be really hard to stand up for ourselves if we are not tuned in to ourselves. And then her other suggestion was to get a good life coach or a good divorce coach, someone, if that's the route that you choose and if that's your specific situation. Some of her other points were know who you're dealing with. So being educated about narcissistic behaviors and being able to point them out. Manage your expectations. So basically to go off of what Shelly was saying is they won't change because nothing's wrong with them. And yeah, I think the point is you need to change, whether that's your expectations, your mindset, your environment. If it is to the point where this person is harming you more than they are providing good, or if it just your mindset has to change. in ways that you speak up for yourself, in ways that you advocate for yourself, in ways that you care for yourself, and protecting your energy and your heart and setting those firm boundaries. And a boundary is not saying you need to change or you need to stop doing this. A boundary is, when you do this, I will do this. So I learned from a Dr. Becky who helps parents. I love her work with deeply feeling kids. And this is just kind of a side note, but she teaches about boundaries. And I love the vision. She says a boundary is not what another person will do. A boundary is what I will do if I feel like I'm not being respected or my opinions are not being valued or even at least acknowledged, right? So a boundary is, I will do this when you do this. So it does not require the other person to change or to do anything differently. It's just you stating what you will do if someone else crosses that boundary, that limit of what you are willing to accept. Shelly also talked about grounding techniques, and I love grounding techniques, ways that we can reset our energy through tapping. These were not specific things that Shelly shared in the episode, but just from my understanding of grounding techniques is resetting your nervous system. You can do that through tapping. You can do that through emotional processing sessions. You can do that through working with a therapist. You can do that through a truth lies journal, even. I hope to go into depth on this more. And if you haven't heard of Truth Lies Journal, stick around and we'll talk about it in a future episode. But that is a very grounding technique. Visualization exercises are very grounding. And also grounding, putting your bare feet on the earth, allowing the negative ions, the negative energy that we've absorbed from other people to be released and absorb Mother Nature's healing energy is something that can help really boost our energy, boost our cells, boost our nervous system to be more regulated. Stick around for part 2 coming next week of this episode with Shelly, where she shares some really great tools and techniques on how kids can protect themselves from this type of parenting, or if they have other people helping kids to recognize these types of behaviors, whether it's through friends at school or through parents or grandparents or other family members, and how it's so important for us to raise the rising generation with these things in mind, with these tools available to them of recognizing and knowing what to do with people who are bullying them and wanting to hurt them and wanting to manipulate them and not treating them correctly. And it's also so important to help teach kids to set healthy boundaries and be able to speak up for themselves. So I love part 2 of this interview with Shelly coming next week. But for today, I just wanted to point out it is so important for us to protect ourselves and our heart and our energy so that we can show up the best that we can for our family members, for ourselves. We can do so much more good when we are emotionally regulated, when we are grounded, when we feel like we have the tools to deal with the situations that we are going through. I hope you find some value in this interview and in learning how to protect your energy, protect your heart. And if you are needing more in-depth help because you are dealing with some of these situations, reach out. If you are needing just some help taking back your voice and taking back your power and learning how to set those boundaries, an emotional processing session with me is an excellent tool. If, however, you find that it is past, I feel like that's a valuable tool, regardless of what route you take, whether you're in a situation where you can't leave, like as if it's a parent, learning how to speak up for yourself is so important, and stop being a people pleaser, and just agreeing because it's easier. Or if you are needing help from Shelly specifically, I'd love to get you in contact with her. If you are needing a life coach or a divorce coach, someone who can help you know how to go to battle in court with, if your partner is has narcissistic behaviors, and you need total separation from that in order to be able to protect yourself and your energy and your kids. I've seen in the lives of friends and people that I know that these narcissistic behaviors in a partner or in a parent can truly suck your energy dry. So if that is the case for you, just know that I am praying for you to make the best choice for you and for your family. And if you are needing more help or more assistance, please reach out. Know that you're not alone. There are so many people who love you and want to help you, even if it feels like you're going through this alone right now. Just know that I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for you. And I'm sending you all my love and energy if this is something that you're dealing with right now. I hope to see you back next week, where we'll talk more with Shelly about techniques that we can use. And I hope you have a great week.